Hello there, my name's Mark Eyre, and I'm here to talk to you about my book, which is called Stand Up and Live. You might have seen an introductory video already, in which I talked about the reasons why I wrote the book in the first place. This will be the first of a series of 9 videos, short videos, in which I will talk about each of the 9 steps to ethical power, which are outlined during the course of the book, referring to the lead character whose name is Martin, and he learns about each of these 9 steps in sequential order. So I'm going to take you through each of them, so by the end of this series of videos you'll have a bit of an understanding of the 9 steps and what they involve. So let's jump straight into step 1, to ethical power. Step 1 is to accept that power is inevitable to life and stop avoiding power in your own life. That sounds very, very simple, but let me give you a quote from one of my favourite quotes from a book that I read once, and it goes like this: "The wrong sort of people are always in power, because they would not be in power if they were not the wrong sort of people." And that was said by a man called John Wynne Tyson. Now, I suspect for a lot of us that sums up how we view power in everyday use. So if we think about the stories in the media about the use of power in the last year, say, then we're looking at things like the banking crisis and the decisions that investors and bankers made where to invest our money. We're looking at things like, very recently, the controversy in Ireland about the Roman Catholic Church and child molesting and cover-ups, where people in power took decisions not to sort out what was a serious situation. And if we think about it from a United Kingdom point of view, the situation with MPs' expenses and the scandals around all of the different claims that were put in for various different expenses, and the public reaction to that, which was very negative. So there's just 3 examples in the last year, and what they illustrate is that often we see power as a negative thing. It is associated with undermining, secrecy, abuse. It is associated with bad things. And it is my contention that that is the equation that many people follow when they think about power. Power equals bad. And in applying that to society and what we see going on around us, we often then apply it to ourselves. And in applying it to ourselves, we then avoid power in our own life. There's only one problem with that. It just isn't good enough. And it will not get us the life that we really, really want. Let me take an example from the animal kingdom, very simple one. Those of you who love cats, or dogs for that matter. You have a kitten, and let's say I'm a kitten. I need to get to my mother's milk, and I may well be in competition with 4 or 5 other kittens as part of my litter to get myself fed. If I don't use my power to get to that milk and get some share of it, I'm going to struggle to survive, and in the wild I won't survive. So I have to use my power to get access to the nutrition, the milk, and that nutrition gives me energy which I can then use to become a bit more powerful next time round, and if I need to, I can force my way in and get my share. And that's how things work in life, and we are animals at roots. We think of ourselves as civilized animals, and sometimes that civilization looks a bit thin, but that is what we are, and it is really important to life that we exercise our power. Now, thankfully, it is not necessarily a case of life and death in the way it is for that kitten. But it is important, perhaps less to life, but it is important to living the kind of life we really want to live, that we learn to exercise our power, and it is really important that we do learn that. So to return to the point that I started out with, step 1 to ethical power is to recognise that power is inevitable to life and stop avoiding it. And don't let the negative way we often see power and the way it's talked about in the wider society, not to let that affect the importance of it in our own lives. And it's only when we recognise that we can start to take some other steps, which I will go on to describe in the next few videos, to connect with our own power and project our own power more effectively and perhaps literally more powerfully, to achieve the things that we want and to benefit those around us as well. So that is step one. In the next video I will talk about the second step to ethical power, but for the moment I will say goodbye.